Hey y'all, I thought I would share with you a few little stories of when I was a teenager and what I have done to my parents' vehicles. So, a little background is that my dad always traded vehicles every 2 years. He said they depreciated a lot after that 2-year period. Now, I don't know. I do know that my parents always drove kind of like sports cars, Chevy Chevelles, mostly. So anyway, my mom always got the new car and my dad took the older car. Now he always had a pickup too. He had an El Camino pickup and he also had a full-size Ford pickup. But anyway, I was 13 because we had just moved into the new house that my parents had built. Now at the time my dad had, wow, I don't know what year it was, but it was a gold Chevy Super Sport. Had a big engine in it. It was an automatic. So I had been begging my dad to teach me to drive. Now, I drove a truck out in the fields. I drove a tractor and even a hay baler. But I could not get him pinned down to teach me how to drive. So one Sunday afternoon, he's lying face down on the couch watching football. Now, you never knew about Daddy, whether he was watching or he had his eyes closed and he was listening or he was asleep. So you never really knew. But his keys were laying on the bar right behind the couch. So I just picked him up, went outside, got in his car, backed out of the driveway, and took off. Now, of course, I wasn't going to teach myself how to drive on the freeway, y'all. I'm not that dumb. But I go down this gravel road, and I'm driving along, and I think I'm doing a wonderful job. I'm keeping the car in the middle of the road. Well, up ahead, I see kind of, you know, a rock, which is not unusual. I mean, there's a difference between a rock and gravel, okay? And the difference is size. So, I ran over this rock. Well, something happened to the car. I was scared shitless, you guys. My dad was a very strict person. He was military. His mother was a very strict parent. That's probably where he got it. But anyway, I got back to the house and I was crying. I was crying for my little rear end, okay? So, Daddy woke up. I managed to run back to my parents' room first and talk to my mom. And she said, "Oh my gosh, I will try to save you." I mean, y'all, I knew that my hiney was in for the biggest whooping I had ever had. Well, my mother came out of the bedroom with me, and my dad was sitting up, and he was staring at his car keys, which were not exactly where he had put them. So I did not get the little whooping that I deserved. My mother said, Aaron, she has been begging you to teach her how to drive. And I know how hard it is to get you to do something that you're not really wanting to do. So you can't totally blame her for trying to teach herself how to drive. Well, I was amazed. My hair was, waist length, and I totally expected him to grab a hold of my hair and jerk me to the ground and stomp me. But he didn't. However, I will tell you what that huge rock did to his car. It bent the frame. Yep, bent the frame. Expensive fix. So then, let's see. My mom had I did two things. There's a nice policeman. He had his radar gun out earlier, but I guess he didn't get anybody. Anyway, I did two things with this car. Now, my mom had this car for, I don't know, a month or so maybe. But before that, when she first got it, she'd had it about 2 weeks. Now, I used to love to drag race, you guys. And we had a long stretch of straight road, 2-lane, between BB and Cabot, the next little town. So we used to get together all the time, usually on Sunday afternoons. There wasn't a lot of traffic, and we would drag race. So I was racing with this guy that had a pretty hot car, you guys. He had it jacked up in the back, which was very common for teenagers to do to their cars back then. And I was not going to let him beat me, you guys. So what I did to my mom's brand new car was redline it. Now, if y'all don't know what that is, it is that you push the car to the limit and it just shuts down. I mean, it just stopped. And it slowed down as it was stopping, and I got it over on the side of the road. Well, everybody that had been behind us, waiting for us to finish this little race, came driving up in their cars and trucks and motorcycles. I was so panicked, you guys. I'm like, what the heck am I gonna do? Now, this was a big Chevy Chevelle Super Sport with a 454 and a cowl induction. Brand new. Blue with big black stripes. All the way from the trunk, over the roof, down the hood. I was freaking out. So anyway, one of the guys drove up and he goes, Deb, chill out, Debrajoy. It's gonna be okay. We just have to let it cool off. And so we did. He primed the carburetor with a little gasoline and it started right up. Oh my Lord, I thought for sure I was a goner that time. But I wasn't. So then another time, the car was over a month old. I was going to take this girlfriend of mine home, and she lived out in the country like a lot of us did. And so I was driving down this gravel road, and I must say I was going pretty fast. Now, I had never been down Becky's Road before, and she started to tell me about the curve up ahead, but she was too late. Now it curved sharply to the left. Well, we ended up going back the way we came. Yep, I overcorrected the car, turned it in the opposite direction, and we ended up in this ditch that was about 3 feet deep. Oh, Lordy, I knew I was going to get killed over this one for sure. An old man came by with his tractor, and he pulled us out of the ditch. So, my girlfriend had to get out on my side because there was ditch on her side, and she couldn't get the door open. So, the farmer pulled us out, and I checked out the car, and you could see that there was grass in the bumper, weeds. So it started up, and we got turned around and headed to Becky's house. When we got to her house, she could not get out of the passenger's door. Once again, I had bent a frame on my mom's car. When I got there, my mom and dad knew where I was going. Becky's mom said, "Deb, you have a phone call. Your mother called and she is frantic for you to call her back." So I called her, and she said something about somebody being dead. Well, I freaked out. I thought it was my dad. And finally, she clarified and said, "No, it was my dad, your grandfather, that died." Now, he was in an insane asylum, y'all, because he had syphilis. I never knew him. So I don't really understand why she felt the need to inform me so quickly, but she did. So, of course, I couldn't tell her on the phone what happened to her car. I didn't know at that time what was wrong with it. I just knew the passenger door wouldn't open. So I went home immediately, sick at my stomach, you guys. Have you ever had that feeling where you've done something so awful that you're almost throwing up? Well, that's how I felt. So I got home. I was crying. They thought it was because of a grandfather. I never knew, but it was because of the car. So I finally got the story out. And I think I didn't get killed that time because of my grandfather dying. So y'all, I really messed up when I was a teenager a few times. I might have been a pure little thing until I got married, but I got in other kinds of trouble. So anyway, y'all, I just thought I'd tell you that while I was driving down the road to meet Mary Jo. I love you guys. Do something fun today, and I will talk to you later.